Welcome to the Bleep Midlife Bulimia podcast with guest Tom Paladino, Scalar light researcher.
Hi everyone, I am Lorianne. I am the host of Bleep Bulimia. And today I'm very pleased to have Tom Paladino with me. He's a scalar light researcher. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for the invitation, Lori.
So I'm curious, can you tell us a little bit more about what scalar light is?
It's sunlight, starlight. Scalar light is the other energy spectrum. We've heard of electricity and magnetism, electromagnetic energy. There are two energies. So I work with the other energy, scalar energy, which is really another term for chi or prana. Some people call that consciousness. It is an information field. That's what I've discovered. It's non-physical, it's an information field. So I'm working with scalar energy from the stars. It's non-physical light.
It's really interesting. So how is the process? I know we were talking about you use photographs, and I'm just interested in letting our listeners know what is the process with this.
Well, when we're working with scalar energy, again, it's not electricity. So I work with people by way of their photograph. I'm going to hold up my photograph. People will email me a photograph, and I'll actually place their photograph inside a scalar energy instrument. Now, why do I do that? Well, a photograph carries a light signature. Every photograph has your light code or your light signature on it. And that's what I access by way of these instruments. So this is a new science. This has never been done before. This is groundbreaking science. And it cannot, again, be explained in electromagnetic terms. So I'm going to use quantum terms. When you place your photograph inside an instrument, it's interconnected through this holographic universe that we live in. And then I'm sending energy information into the photograph. And I can do incredible things for your force field on the photograph. But keep in mind, I only work with photographs. This is the new science of scalar energy.
That's fascinating. And through this, you're able to help people through different, physical ailments.
Yes.
And then, of course, we're talking about bulimia. So maybe you can give us an idea if somebody is struggling with bulimia, how would that be a benefit to them?
Okay, so when I'm sending scalar energy instructions to a photograph, that photograph is energetically alive with your soul, mind, and body. And I have found that sending those instructions, that serves to correct the conscious. Some people say that that can help them with their eating habits, to select food that is perhaps more nutritious, or that can help them curb their appetite. Has helped a few people because it will send what I consider a recalibration to the brainwaves, and it has been shown to help some people with bulimia. Now, how is that possible? By reprogramming the brainwaves. How do we do that? By instructions. Scalar energy instructions reprogram the brainwave, and we're sending all of that information, all of those instructions to the photograph. So I'm going to use this analogy. I frequently use this analogy. This is my cell phone. Well, obviously, I'm not inside the cell phone. The cell phone carries my voice, so to speak. Well, likewise, a photograph is your energetic pattern. And I'm able to access your energetic pattern by your photograph. And again, by recalibrating the brain waves and the 7 chakras, that has helped some people with eating disorders, including bulimia.
That's wonderful. And in regards to, I guess, you're talking about consciousness and then the subconscious as well, because bulimia, it's not just about the eating, it becomes more, as some people call it, an addiction, some we call it habit. And does that help to break those patterns?
Yes, I believe it does. Now, keep in mind, this is a new and emerging science, and my instruments are custom built. So I only can go by the experience that I have with some people. Okay, this is new and emerging. I obviously don't have, I haven't written all the chapters in scalar energy research yet. I have worked with some people with bulimia, and it seems to correct their desire for food, or to at least have food in proper proportion, and not to be afraid of food, and to realize that food is life-sustaining. Now, I don't do that. The energy does that. Energy is instructive. Energy carries that information. So to use this in a general sense, scalar energy has been shown to correct addictions or phobias. It is I believe it's a divine energy, and hence it's a divine energy that is correcting phobias or addictions.
Really interesting. Now I have a question. Some of us, and I'm sure that there's probably bulimics out there that are struggling with this, but with grinding the teeth, and I also have TMJ, I also have tinnitus now. Would that be something? And I know that you don't have the research on it, but would it be under the scope of what you could possibly help? Because that's very annoying. The last couple of days it's been really loud.
Okay. Tinnitus is not within my reach, but I'm going to say this about scalar energy. If this is the life force energy that controls all action, someday somebody will discover how to use scalar energy to promote better hearing, address tinnitus, etc. So that day is forthcoming, and I'm looking forward to that day. So again, I can't say no to that in its entirety, but it's not within my reach right now.
Okay. And that day that that, and if there is a way, I'm going to tell you.
I'll let you know.
Millions of people are going to be contacting you because it's something at this point they say there's no cure for.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So do you have any I know that you have literature on your website about it. Have you written a book yet in regards to it?
No, and for two good reasons. And don't throw stones at me. I don't have the time. And secondly, this is still in its nascent state. And I simply am writing monographs. I wrote a 2-page monograph in the past couple of days, and I'm going to post it on the website this weekend. So for the time being, it's only short monographs. This is so new, people. This is all groundbreaking research, right off the press, so to speak. And I myself, I don't know if I would feel comfortable writing a definitive book yet. It might take me another 5 or 10 years that I feel comfortable, because I'm simply not going to fill a book with too many elaborations. I want cold hard facts, or at least theories that make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So tell me, what would be one of your a story of that just really stands out to you in regards to the work that you've done?
I frequently give credence to the people of India. I'm working with people in India by way of their photograph. By the way, I've never been to India. And people will email me photographs. And I'm working with an HIV/AIDS clinic in Delhi, India. And everybody that I've worked with so far by way of their photograph, all of their test results for HIV are negative. Not one person is remaining with any detectable viral load for HIV, not one. Now, that is new research. And I cannot be definitive about this because so much follow-up research is needed. And now keep in mind, when I'm working with a photograph, this is not Western medicine, this is not Western science, it's a new science. So it will require a new way of looking at the cause and effect relationship. Now, there's one other thing I want to mention. Working with scalar energy is, again, it's not electricity. So you can't compare these two dimensions and draw conclusions because they're two different languages, they're two different dimensions. So suffice to say, I'm working with a dimension, scalar energy, that is a new science that will require a new understanding of that field of science.
Absolutely. And when it comes to that, let's say that I send you a picture, is there a requirement for you to know what aspect that we're looking to? So that I just send you a picture, but I'm bulimic, but I don't tell you, or do you need to know, is what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. No, I do not need to know, and I would rather not know. Why? Because I don't consider this medical diagnostic testing. This is a new science in which, working with a photograph, I let the energy dictate what it's going to do. I have to make that very clear. I am not the prime mover. the prime mover is God with this energy. I believe it's a divine energy. If you go to a clinic, the prime mover is the hospital staff, okay? But obviously you don't take your photograph to a hospital or a clinic. So this is a new science. It has nothing to do with Western science. It's a new way of looking at reality. So this is why I offer anybody to visit my website, and I offer people 15 days of free sessions. Why? It's brand new. And before you really have to immerse yourself in this, you want to experiment. You want to experience the sessions. So anybody in the world can visit my website, and we offer 15 days of free sessions for anybody in the world. Now, I can't emphasize enough that I don't think anybody else in the world is doing this. So this is the first time around for people. No, I get that. I can accept that. That's why I offer free sessions.
So that they can overcome their, there's some people would be worried about it, and to have to invest in it without knowing about it this way, right. Overcome. And I would imagine that helps with your research as well.
Yeah, you're right. Let me take the audience back. I studied Nikola Tesla. He's a great mind. He's a great discoverer. He was I think he was the first man to have harnessed scalar energy. And I can name maybe 5 or 6 other scientists who worked with scalar energy. That is how narrow this field is. Because if most people don't realize that there's another energy spectrum besides that of electricity and magnetism. So what is scalar energy? It's chi, prana. Some people call that 0-point energy, or quantum energy. You've heard that term frequently, quantum energy. Well, quantum energy really has not been defined, at least not by academia. You could ask 1,000 people, you can get 1,000 different explanations. As opposed to electricity, most people will say it's a current, a flow of electrons. Well, anyway, I'm in that nebulous science, quantum science. The best way for me to work with people is by way of their photograph. The best way for me to introduce this to people is by way of the 15-day trial. And then I want to develop a body of evidence as per scalar science. This is the new science. And the testimonies of people are found on my website as per this new science, scalar energy science. So if you ever wanted to be on the ground floor level of a movement, this is it. This is the basement, people. You're at the basement level with me.
I'm curious, how did you come up with this? I mean, it is new, and you're dealing with pictures. I did look up, I couldn't find anything else to what you're doing, so you're right. What brought you to that?
I met a family in the United States, the Hieronymus family. I never met the inventor. And the inventor's name is Galen Hieronymus. Anyway, long story short, working with that family that worked with scalar energy instruments, that family actually sold me scalar energy instruments. And much of my work is if you will, an offshoot of the work of Galen Hieronymus. Very few scalar energy experts. He's one of the few scalar energy experts in this world. So I had a head start by working with that Hieronymus family. I was able to actually purchase scalar energy instruments.
And then where does the picture come into it?
It's a technique that I've perfected over time. The Hieronymus family was starting to use Polaroid photographs with their research. And many times we call those photographs the witness. Now that's not like the witness in a jury trial. The witness is a photograph. So the witness we would place inside a scalar energy instrument. And we would have incredible results with people by working through their photograph as a witness. Well, over the years, I've developed the technique, and now we're using emailed photograph. We're no longer using Polaroids. You can see how this dates back. And after 30 years of research, I could say that every photograph is energetically alive with scalar energy, and we can balance those meridians, those 7 chakras, and some people see the benefits. Their mental health improves.
I'm a little bit curious because I lived in Turkey when I was a kid, and I remember we were traveling in the the more eastern part of it, because we're in Istanbul, we went there. And my mother loved taking photographs, but the peasants there would not let us. And in fact, she almost, one guy started running after her, trying to grab her camera, because they said that by taking a photograph, their belief was you're taking a part of their soul. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Lorianne, they're absolutely right. That's correct. When I take somebody's photograph, your soul, mind, and body is imprinted, embedded on that photograph. Your photograph is your energetic copy. It's not your physical copy, it's your energetic copy of your soul, mind, and body. And those cultures that deemed a photograph sacred, they're right. It's sacred energy on that photograph. Meaning what? Your soul is imprinted on that photograph. That's quite a profound thought, but the ancients were correct. And some of the cultures said, you're stealing my soul from that photograph. Well, it depends on how you define those terms, but I would say their spiritual essence is found on that photograph. So yes, that photograph is their spiritual analog of their physical body. How's that?
I found that fascinating because when I was reading up on what you were doing, and I thought, wow, this reminds me, as a kid, I found it fascinating. So they did have some insight into that. They took it, I guess, to a different level, but definitely it's been out there, is what we're trying to say. That
we're starting to see there's science behind folklore. There's science behind those age-old traditions. There's science behind quantum mechanics, quantum physics. This is real. And the way you explain it is by scalar energy. You do not explain these events by electricity. Electricity is that other dimension that has other properties. We're working with the scalar energy properties. It's a different dimension.
Yeah, I find that interesting. We were talking to, and we had him on our other show, Dr. Cook, who was talking about quantum physics and what he's doing. And I thought that this something that a lot more, I guess, well, The Secret, of course, we all know about, people watched it, was where it was kept a secret for so long, as you said, from previous. I think this is really interesting, though, because like I said, it's a very different route than what I've heard other people speaking about. So
to speak to that point, when people have that ability to conceive an idea and then achieve it, some people call that the secret or preconditioning or programming. That's very real. Your mind is a scalar energy vessel, and if you can conceive something, you will achieve that. So when you send that intention, which is scalar energy, when you set your consciousness along that path, which is scalar energy, then you set up the template. You set up the paradigm for success. And this is why many people say, well, my thinking sabotaged my success. In some cases, they're right. Or others will say, well, I have good positive thoughts and I'm goal-oriented and I'm successful. I can believe that. I believe in positivity. I believe in goal setting, and that sets a consciousness. Those goals can be achieved.
Yeah. Oh, I believe that. There's been many times where, I want something and I hope for it and I get it more times than I haven't. But then there's the same thing when my mindset shifts. It can cause the failures and self-sabotage, and you really have to be careful about those. When somebody gets, so are there reports that come back to the people who do this? How does that work? How do they?
Yeah, on a daily basis, when you sign up for the 15-day session, the free session, on a daily basis, we will email you and we'll explain to you the process. We want to do that because this is brand new. This is a new approach to quantum health. And we want people to be fluent. We want people to be educated. So we provide a daily email explaining the sessions.
That's perfect. Wow, I really am grateful that you're on here, and thank you very much, because as you know, this podcast is to give the people alternatives, because what works with one person may not work with the other. And this, like you said, is around bottom, and it's worthwhile at least, for 15 days. Like, what do you have to lose, right? And then if it works out, then I would imagine you have a subscription of some sort if they decide that they want to continue with it.
Yeah, that's correct. We have a monthly subscription, a 30-day subscription, but that that is after a person's due diligence. The first thing, because this is brand new, try the 15-day trial, okay? I want you to make sure you want to jump into the pool. So make sure you're acclimated to the water before you jump in.
Love it. Do you have anything else to share with our listeners?
My website, scalarlight.com, SCALAR, scalarlight.com. Don't be bashful. You can send in your photograph, family, friends, include your pets. We will balance the chakras. We have a microbial cleanse. We have a pathogenic cleanse, and we will also deliver nutrients. We can create nutrients in the quantum realm. So the chakra balancing, pathogen cleanse, and the nutrient program, all of that for 15 days. Most people feel the benefits after 15 days.
Beautiful. And my final question, so this was, I know I've been asking who works with this, that, but you said it better. I say tinnitus, a lot of Canadians do. You said tinnitus.
Yeah, that's one of those words that it's evolved, and I've heard it five different pronunciations, so they're all correct. See, and that's a good point. That's an evolving science in and of itself, and you can't just pigeonhole one expression.
No, it's true. But I would imagine something that you probably have some research on, and it's a big one again, is anxiety. I mean, I can't tell you how many people talk about their, severe anxiety, and in this world and technology, it's probably why. Faster moving.
Try the 15-day trial. It has helped some people with anxiety and depression issues.
Perfect.
The rest is up to God. It's not my energy. I want to make that very clear. Quantum energy is God's energy.
It's wonderful. And listeners, highly recommend 15 days trial. Just sign up for it. And again, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit me at bleepbulimia.com.